The PureStar natural water system is a self-contained water purification system designed to operate with a direct waterline connection or water from a household faucet using either a 3 or 5 gallon bottle. Your customer can choose the option to best fit their lifestyle. The PureStar uses a 5-stage filtration system consisting of a sediment filter, KDF carbon, an ultrafiltration membrane, a post-carbon filter, and when needed, an optional UV module, all working together to provide clean, fresh water. To provide easy access to the filters for replacement or the valves for source water changes, the PureStar has a removable side panel. Simply remove the 2 screws holding the panel in place. With the 2 screws removed, simply lift out the panel for complete access. The PureStar is designed to quickly and easily change from bottle to a direct water source and back. To use tap water from the 3 or 5 gallon bottle, open valve number 1, close valve number 2. This is also the factory default setting when you receive the unit. If you want to use the PureStar connected directly to a water line, then close valve number 1, open valve number 2. It's that easy to configure. No need to lift up heavy bottles or risk spilling, which are common issues with top-load units. The PureStar with its unique roll-out bottom tray makes refilling easy. A 3-gallon bottle comes standard with the PureStar, and an optional 5-gallon bottle is available to purchase for those who want something larger. Our 3 and 5-gallon bottles are BPA-free. Direct water connection capability is built in for those customers who prefer not to use a bottle. The waterline connection uses a standard 1/4 inch outside diameter supply line for easy installation. When selecting the direct water connection, installation should be performed by a licensed plumber and always follow local plumbing codes. The rear panel is where the pump and heater switches and the replaceable fuse are located. The pump switch allows for its use with a bottle or disables it for a direct water connection. The heater switch allows the option of having hot water when the switch is on or room temperature when the switch is off. The PureStar provides easy-to-see status indicator lights on the front panel. These lights indicate the following. The blue light indicates the unit is plugged in and the cold water compressor is operating. The red light illuminates when the heater switch is in the on position to indicate the heating element is operating. The amber light illuminates when the reservoir tank is low on water, indicating it's time to refill the bottle. A buzzer also provides an audible alert with the amber light. The PureStar features a removable drip tray for ease of cleaning and containing spills. The tray simply lifts out and separates for cleaning. The PureStar hot water faucet utilizes a safety lock button to prevent the accidental dispensing of hot water. Push in the safety button and depress the lever for hot water. Cold water dispenses by simply depressing the faucet lever. The PureStar cold water temperature goes down to a chilly 39 degrees Fahrenheit using R134A refrigerant for environmental safety, and up to 194 degrees Fahrenheit for really hot water. The PureStar has 2 water tanks. The cold water tank holds 3.2 liters and the hot 2 liters. Energy consumption is 90 watts for the compressor and 450 watts for the heater when in operation. Because the PureStar water system makes efficient use of energy, the EPA has approved the PureStar as an ENERGY STAR compliant product. The first stage in the PureStar filtration process is the 5-micron sediment filter. Sediments are particulate matter found in all water. These particles may be rust flakes from the water pipes, sand grains, small particles of organic matter, clay, dirt, scale, or other small particles found in the water supply. The sediment filter is capable of removing particles as small as 5 microns. In comparison, a human hair is approximately 100 microns in diameter. The second stage in the filtration process is a KDF 55 filter with media consisting of a finely granulated copper and zinc alloy along with activated carbon. The 2 alloys permit a chemical reaction to take place when water passes through the media. It is this chemical reaction combined with activated carbon that gives KDF 55 media its ability to remove chlorine, heavy metals, VOCs, and other contaminants from the water. The third stage in the filtration process uses an ultrafiltration membrane. Ultrafiltration is a separation process using a membrane with submicron-sized pores. The PureStar ultrafiltration membrane is designed to remove high molecular weight substances, suspended materials, organic and inorganic substances as small as 0.1 microns. Low molecular weight organics and ions such as calcium and magnesium, which are good minerals, are not removed. The fourth stage in the filtration process uses a granulated activated carbon filter. Carbon is a substance that is used to absorb impurities from the water, which can affect taste and odor. Just 1 pound of activated carbon contains a surface area of roughly 125 acres and can absorb literally thousands of different contaminants. Activated carbon has a slight positive charge added to it, making it even more attractive to chemicals and contaminants. As water passes over the carbon surface, ions from the contaminants are drawn to the surface of the carbon granules, effectively removing them. The fifth stage in the filtration process utilizes an optional ultraviolet light module. The optional UV purifier unit contains a powerful germicidal lamp that produces an ultraviolet wavelength of 254 nanometers. UV light at this wavelength is proven highly lethal to active contaminants. Many municipal water facilities incorporate UV technology in their purification process. It provides an extra level of purification from active contaminants.
Hello, I am Mike Wilkin. The purpose of this video is to help guide you through the presentation book, the demo kit, the demos, and some of the do's and the don'ts. This is the first in a series of training videos, and it's going to be broken into chapters so it will be easy for you to refresh on a particular subject. So let's go ahead and get started. Our presentation is designed to help educate the prospect based on data and public information. We're going to supply them with some options, and at the end, offer our product as a solution based on the merits of the product. You should present the product as if the prospects are your family. As a company, our position is we do not try to sell on scare tactics, threatening statements, or by supplying false or misleading information. People are already aware of some of the concerns with drinking water, as evidenced by the use of bottled water and a variety of water filters. Simply tell the truth, show why our product is beneficial, and let the customer make a sound decision based on the information supplied. Remember, if they are already buying bottled water or getting water delivered, we just need to have the customer agree to transfer the dollars already being spent to us. So let's take a look at some of the presentation materials, such as the kit, the book, the questionnaire, and the demo items individually, and let's see how they all wrap together. So let's go ahead and start with the demo book. The purpose of the demo book is to keep you and the customer on track. We're going to go through each page, and what I want to do is highlight the points you want to get across. The first page is the company page. We're just setting the stability of the company, who we are, and how long we've been around. The next page establishes why we're there. And this also ties in with the questionnaire. So what we talk about is the purpose of the visit, the options, and so forth. The next 2 pages deal with hydration and the importance of water to your body and to your health. When you go through these pages, you're not going to have to read each individual word, just take the highlights. You've got to remember the customer can scan the page faster than you can say that. Well, at this page, we want to establish what kind of water the customer is drinking so we know what we're working against. This page is the start of the public information. Again, we're not talking about anything about their water municipality. We're not using scare tactics. This is just supplying it public information that's already out there. Be it in America or Canada, or if they're using well water, it doesn't make any difference. Then this page is designed to wrap them all together. So when we're talking about pharmaceuticals, microbial pollutants, exactly what we're talking about. Again, short, simple, concise. Then we get into the options. The first option we're going to talk about is the bottled water. When you're going through the page, just go ahead and take the highlighted parts. The customer, again, is going to see the balance of it. This page here is designed to go through a value comparison. I'm going to stop on this for just a couple of seconds because I want to make sure that you understand this. When you're talking about bottled water, you have on this column here 2 different pricings. And what we want to get across to the customer is, normally when people buy bottled water, you either buy it by the bottle or you go to the store and you buy it by the case. This is the bottle pricing, this is the case pricing. Then we do the math, and what we want to establish for the customer is how much that is per gallon. And when you get $2, $3, $5, $6, $8 a gallon, my gracious, that is a lot of money that people are paying simply for drinking water. The last column is that if they just multiplied it out on a 3-year basis, what are we looking at that you're actually spending on the water? So that's an option, maybe not the best option, but an option. The next page deals with filters, the variety of either pitcher or faucet filters, and we want to find out, have they or are they using these? The next page is just a grid that shows how effective are these filters from A to Z. Let the customer take a snapshot and then move on. Once we establish the issues, then we get into the options. Now we want to supply the customer with a solution. And the solution obviously has to be our product. This is the highlights of the product. This page, we really want to get across the point about addition and subtraction. That starts us into our demonstration. When we get to the next pages, this is where the demo kit comes in. What we want to do is establish what's going on with the book and then physically show the customer. You have to understand that telling is not selling. Anything you can show the customer, you've got to show them. And that's why we highlight what the filter can do. We take a specific demo with the kit and the materials, and then we wrap it together. When we get done going through the filters, we take them through features and benefits, then we get into closing or asking for the order. The logical thing to do when you ask for the order is a slight recap of what you've talked about. This is what the other companies don't do. This is what we can do. This is the pricing of the other products. This is the pricing on our product. And then once that's established, you simply go into your particular pricing and ask for the order. It's just that simple. To assist you in doing an effective presentation, you have been supplied with a training outline. This outline takes you step by step from the beginning of the demo through the end with the demo book, and more specifically with each of the demonstrations. Again, telling isn't selling. We want to show them everything. So this is why with the kit and each of the demos, for example, with the addition-subtraction demo, what you'll find in the outline is it takes it from A to Z. The same applies for the dust or the dirt presentation, as well as the yellow chlorine and the red dye. If you study these guides and marry it with watching the presentation in this video, you are going to have a successful demonstration. When you present the product, you must be accurate regarding the source water and the efficiency of the product. Do not use scare tactics or make any claims or representations as to what's in the consumer's water or the quality of the water from the local municipality. We have not tested the water, nor have we monitored the process used by the local water company. The product is designed to remove or reduce a variety of items from the water. However, the efficiency of the product is directly related to the quality of the water source. Do not make any statements that are not accurate and or verifiable when presenting our product. You will build trust and confidence with the consumer by showing the features and benefits of the product and by supplying them with accurate information. A little quick preview like we talked about, a short questionnaire, and then I get credit every time I do this, so it really helps me out. Right? Okay. Let's start with a little information about the company. The company was established in 1937 as Interstate Engineering. We're located in Dallas, Texas. There's a picture of the home office, and our manufacturing facility is in Bristol, Virginia. And we became TriStar Enterprises in 2003, just a brand change. The heartbeat of the company is what we're known for is dedication to manufacturing of quality environmental products. So today what we're going to do is a free water consultation and analysis and provide you some information on water purification systems and some options. So this way, if you're ever in the market for water purification, you kind of know what's on the market, maybe why we're a little bit different. Fair enough?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's talk about water itself and how important it is to your body and functioning on a daily basis. Did you know that 75% of your body is actually comprised of water?
I did.
That's great, because most people really don't. And when you look at the vital organs and the primary organs in here, from the brain all the way down through the blood, you can look at the percentages, anywhere from 22% all the way up to 90%. So obviously, being hydrated is very, very important, right? So one of the questions, I guess, that you'd have to ask yourself is, am I hydrated enough? 75%, 55%, 100%, or whatever. Because what I want to do is show you, if you don't have proper hydration, these are the things that happen. There was a study done by the Cornell Medical Center, and what they said is 75% of the participants, you can see, actually has symptoms of chronic dehydration, which included being mistaken for hunger. Sometimes people think they're hungry, but they're actually just dehydrated. The metabolism slows. They have daytime fatigue. You know, sometimes people say, geez, I just feel kind of sluggish. You have fuzzy short-term thinking, the difficulty focusing, and so forth. So if these are some of the symptoms of not being hydrated enough, obviously drinking enough water is a primary goal for your health, correct? Yes. Not just for you, but for your family also. But on there, so I guess what it says here is, so should you drink enough water or more water? The answer has to be yes, but it has to be the right kind of water. Does that make sense to you? Okay, good. All right. So let's go ahead and establish what kind of water are you drinking now. Are you drinking well water, public water, bottled water, filtered water? What kind of water are you drinking?
Public water.
Public water? Okay. Let's go ahead, and what we can do here is we can do part of that questionnaire right now, okay? All right. So you're drinking public water, municipal water. Now, is that including like from the tap as well as the refrigerator?
Yes.
Okay, so both. And on the water, is there anything that you've noticed, like with taste or odor or color or anything along that line, or any kind of concerns that you have with the water that you're drinking right now?
No.
Not really. That's pretty standard. And we'll cover most of this in a little bit. But on bottled water, do you drink bottled water now?
Yes.
Okay, like go to the store and buy some or whatnot. Okay, all right. So we'll go ahead and put that down. We'll cover the balance of this in just a couple of seconds. Now, when we're going to be talking about the public water and so forth, right? One of the things that I'm going to cover with you is just some of the things that have been reported, either in the news, on TV, magazines, newspapers. Have you read anything about some of the concerns with the water today?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm not covering this to try to scare you or anything along that line, or Lord knows, say anything about your municipality on the water, you know, because they're all different, right? These are just some of the concerns that have been reported.
Okay.
One of them is up to 7 million people are becoming sick right here because of contaminated water. And there's a lot of contaminants in the water. In fact, there's 260 different ones that they found, of which 141 of them just don't have any type of regulations, which is kind of you know, concerning itself. And on the pharmaceuticals, what's happening today, as you know, that there's a lot more people taking pharmaceuticals and so forth. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they start to feel better, they don't quite finish the prescription. Then what happens is what? Now they take it and flush it down, and then what happens is it actually ends up surfacing in the water system itself. And again, I'm not saying this to scare you. This is just some of the concerns, right? Okay. Now, you don't drink well water, so you know that's inapplicable. So when you look at all the things about the water itself, here's what we're looking at. When we're talking about the pharmaceuticals, these are the things that we're talking about in here. When we're talking about microbial pollutants, that's the bacteria and these things in here. Heavy metals, that's your mercury, your copper, those things. Dissolved solids are the arsenic, the salts, the chlorine, especially if you're on a salt-free diet, you know, obviously you're not supposed to have a lot of salts in there. And when it says organics, that's basically like the taste and the coloring, the smell of it. I don't know. Have you ever traveled? You said you haven't noticed anything here, but have you ever noticed that if you travel to other places that sometimes the water just tastes different, smells different, and that's all it is. So the question I have for you is for your family, and if there's a way to make sure that you don't have any of these kind of concerns, right? That you have control of the water itself as opposed to leaving it in other people's hands, that would be a benefit for you.
Definitely.
Okay, great. So what are some of the options you have? Well, one of the options you have is bottled water. You talked about bottled water now. Okay. Now with bottled water, one of the things is that it's expensive. By the way, about how much do you spend on the bottled water itself? I know you said it's you, 2 children, and your husband. What would you say you spend on a weekly or a monthly basis?
About $30 to $40 a week. Sorry, a month.
A month. I was going to say, okay, you guys drinking a lot of water. About $30 to $40 a month. That's about standard, all right? And again, of course, it would be determined by the size of the family and how many kids, really active, not active, and so on and so forth. But the funny thing about the amount of money that you spend on the water is most of it, really 95% of it, is for the transportation and the labeling and so forth. It's not actually the water itself. When you talk about the environmental concerns, I'm sure you've seen the reports about the landfills and about how it takes up to 1,000 years for the bottles, the plastic bottles to biodegrade and so forth. So there is an expense factor, there is the environmental concerns and the impact like this on there. And then part of the issue is the fact that it's unregulated. 60–70% of the water just doesn't have the same type of regulations. And most of it's just actually tap water, right? So it is an option, right? So that's one thing. But when you talked about expensive, take a look at this. When you look at bottled water, a lot of times people just don't realize how much money they're spending. Maybe you go down to the store. Have you ever done this? You're just driving along, you feel like you're a little thirsty, you stop off at a convenience store, grab a bottle of water, and it's a buck something, and then you just kind of moving on. The water that you're buying now for your family, do you buy it like in a grocery store and so forth? Okay.
In the case.
All right, in the case. And this is why we have it like this. Let's take, for example, this water right here. This is what it is per bottle, right? If you just happen to stop off, this is what it is per case.
Okay.
So there's a pretty big variance. The point I'm trying to get across is when you look at this couple dollars for the bottle, what it equates out to per gallon is, in this case, $7 to $8 a gallon. Sometimes you don't realize it, it's a couple bucks and then so forth, but you're actually spending. Did you realize that if you're doing this, you're actually spending more money on water than you are for gasoline? Wow. It's incredible, isn't it? And then if you look at it, say on a 3-year run, just a short snippet there, look how much money you're spending on the water itself. Right?
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money. You probably didn't realize that it could be that expensive, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. So it's an option. Maybe not the best economic option and so forth, but it is an option. Another option is all the conventional filters, like the pitchers and then the ones you see on the faucets and so forth. Now, these are designed to reduce the contaminants, but they don't really adequately purify, all right? And so you have countertop ones, you have the faucet ones, you have just like a water softener, maybe just a sediment filter by itself. Do you use any of those kind of things?
No.
Okay, all right, just strictly out of the fridge or out of the tap. All right, good. Now, so when you look at the other standard kind of filters on there, this is what we found they can do. If you look on a chart from A to Z, right, this is what the activated carbon and so forth. You can see the check marks, what they do, but you can see there's a lot of things they don't do. In fact, there's probably less things that they take out than what they do take out. Okay? And just out of curiosity's sake, if you were to be looking for a water purification system, would you be looking for a system that takes everything out, or would just maybe just some of the stuff?
Everything.
Everything. I mean, that's not hard to answer, right? So what makes this a little bit different? Well, the PureStar water system itself is an exclusive system. And what we do is we purify by subtraction, not by addition. What I mean by that, Jenny, is really only 2 ways to purify the water. One is by addition, which in other words, you can add chemicals upon chemicals, which is adding, right? Or by subtraction, where you're eliminating or taking the contaminants or possible contaminants out of the water, right? Between the two, adding chemicals upon chemicals or actually eliminating the contaminants, which makes more sense to you?
Removing them.
Removing them, all right? So it's not rocket science, all right? So let's talk about the addition subtraction. When you look at about addition and subtraction, what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of your tap water, if that's okay. And I'm going to show you what happens. This here, I'm just going to add this in. And what these two things are here, Jenny, is if you've ever watched somebody test a swimming pool, they put little drops in and so forth. And this is, so I'm not adding any kind of chlorine or anything to the water. This is just going to show if there is chlorine in the water itself, okay? And the darker the color, the more the chlorine there is in there. And that's all we're doing is just measuring the level. So I'm going to kind of swirl this around, all right? And when I'm talking about the chlorine itself, I mean, it's thank goodness they do put chlorine in the water from the treatment plant, you know, because if they didn't, the hospitals would be full, right? All right, so going from the plant to the tap's great, but there's not really any kind of benefit to drink the chlorine from thereafter. So if the water came out this color, right, you probably wouldn't be drinking this, would you? Right? So the only way I can get that clear is to actually put some bleach in this, bleach this out, or chlorine, which 3% of bleach is chlorine. Put some more of that in there, squeeze it in like that, swirl it around, and then all of a sudden, voila, let me put a little more in there. Just didn't get enough. So sometimes I got to add a little more just to make sure I got enough. And look at this. Look what's happening to this. I can just kind of swirl this around, and all of a sudden now, as you can see, it becomes perfectly clear, right? So now it's okay to drink this water, or you just is not, right? So that's part of the issue is because sometimes you can't see what's in the water, I just kind of brought it to life, okay? So this again is what the PureStar does, is we purify by subtraction, not by adding more chemicals in, which you said obviously makes a lot more sense, okay? All right, now, what we have in the system itself, we have a 5-stage filter system, right? And what happened is each filter has a specific purpose, but they all work in harmony to give you good, clean, purified water. The first one is the large sediment filter. What that's designed to remove is the rust, the sandstone, the lime, the soil, and all those kind of things. They're kind of like the gunky stuff that can go inside the system itself, right? Now, you can't really see anything in your water right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some dirt or dust. I'm going to put a little bit in here into the system, and what I'm going to do is fill this up so to let you see how well this actually can take the stuff out, right? And you're going to actually see the difference here, okay? So we're going to take this here. I'm just going to take a little bitty teaspoon, not a whole lot. I'm going to put this right here. And we're going to put this in, kind of gunky looking, right? Probably wouldn't want to be drinking that. And if you could take that cup there that's got that water in it and just kind of move that off to the side. I really don't need that one because I want to show you kind of like the before and the after. So here's the before, just kind of murky and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is take this stuff through the PureStar system, plug this in, and basically this is what would be happening if it was coming out of your tap. So what I want you to do is look through here and come over in here, and if you take a look, you can see how dark that is there, right?
Right.
Then it comes through the inlet hose, through the pump, then the pump takes it through the initial filters, which is the sediment filter. You notice how it's going in, and you can see how dark it is, but as it goes through the balance of the filters, which we'll talk about in a second, you can see it comes out really, really nice and crystal clear. So what I'm going to do is we're going to show you some little befores and afters, right? Kind of like they talk about seeing is believing, right? Okay, so this is what the water looked like here. This is what it looks like coming out. So as you can see, if you had any of that kind of stuff in there, clean, crisp, clear, purified water. Pretty neat?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the first filter, and that's what it's designed to do, is to take those things out. The second filter that we have in your PureStar system is the KDF carbon filter. KDF is the optimum type of filtration that you can get as far as carbon filter, right? There's a lot of different carbon filters, but this is designed to remove or reduce up to 98% the chlorine, the copper, the lead. Just like things you heard, get the lead out. Lead's not really that great to do, and all the inorganic compounds. Okay, so the first one takes care of all those things, and the second one is going to take care of this. Now, to give you an idea what I mean, is we're going to rinse this out just for a second. Is there any questions that you have about anything I've talked about so far?
Nope.
Okay, if there's any kind of spills or whatever, I promise I'm going to clean up before I leave, all right? Okay. So your kitchen will be crystal clear by the time I'm done. Just going to rinse this out. We're going to put this in. Now what happens is, if there's any kind of chlorine inside your water itself, it's going to show up with this, which is called OTO. You know, it just shows the existence of chlorine. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to take these, which we had over here. We'll take a nice clean glass, right? Put this in here. Add a little bit. If it turns yellow, like you see how it's turning all yellow right there. So what we do is we add the chlorine inside there. See that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take this, put it in here, put a couple drops in here, and all I'm trying to do is show you the same thing, is that if you happen to have any kind of chlorine or any of those other things that we talked about, that GAC filter, just like you noticed there, right? There it is. What we're going to do is plug this in, and it's going to eliminate that. Okay. I'm just going to put this right here. And why don't you come here a second? See how it's yellow here and then it's coming through? See how it's yellow right in there? Uh-huh. But you notice as it's coming out again, it's kind of crystal clear. So again, each filter has a specific purpose. This is the OTO. This is the chlorine that was in there. This is what it eliminates out. Okay?
Okay.
The third filter is an ultrafine membrane. And what this is designed to do, this is kind of all the filters, the heart and the soul of it itself, is this is designed to remove or reduce the pharmaceuticals that we talked about, the bacteria, and any other toxic materials or particles down to 0.1 micron. Now, in case you're not a micron expert, a human hair is about 70 to 100 microns in size. Okay. This goes down to 0.1, right? And to give you a frame of reference, that's 1/100,000th the size of a human hair. So that's actually pretty small.
That is.
Besides taking out all the other potential contaminants in there that we just talked about, the nice thing about this is what it actually does is it can take care of the pharmaceuticals and those other things, but it will leave the minerals in because the diameter and the weight of the minerals are actually greater than that of the pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
So that way the stuff that you don't want goes away and the stuff that you do want stays in. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, what we're going to do to use this, to simulate this, is a little red food dye. I'm just going to put this in here, 2 quick little drops. We're going to take your spoon that you were so kind to let me use, and we're going to go ahead and pour this in here so that way we can see the before and after. There's your before. We're going to plug in the system itself. And again, come over here. You see how the pink color is in here. And the reason I'm doing this, I want you to make sure that you're seeing that as everything comes through, you're actually seeing this change color as it goes through the filters, right? And again, the reason I'm showing this to you is I'm not saying there's anything in your water. I haven't tested your water. If you do test your water, it can change, you know, from day to day, hour to hour. I'm not saying anything against your municipal water and so forth. This is just possible contaminants, and if those are in there, you have the peace of mind with your PureStar water system, the natural water system, that you get that kind of stuff out. Okay?
Okay.
Because after all, it's your family, you know, and so forth that we're talking about. So this is what it looks like going in, and if you had any of that kind of stuff, that's what it looks like coming out.
Okay.
Okay? Pretty cool?
Very cool.
What happens is stage 4 is what they call the GAC filter, which is granular activated carbon. What this is designed to do is to remove what's called VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, pesticides, herbicides, kind of like, they have the pesticides on the food and all those kind of things, and then you're supposed to wash and whatnot. You know, I'm assuming you probably rinse your fruits and your vegetables and all those kind of things. Well, what happens is with this, it'll help eliminate those things, so you don't have to worry about that as much. And also the man-made chemicals, and it improves the taste. What we mean by that is this is the polishing effect. Every other filter that you've seen up to this particular point is designed to eliminate different particles, right, or possible contaminants. This is to give it that crystal clear, clean, crisp, kind of fresh taste, you know, and that's why they call it the PureStar natural water system. It kind of takes it back to the natural state, right? So here's what we're going to do. This is going to be the fun part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to go ahead, I'm going to use some of your water, your tap water, which you say you use. I'm going to have you go ahead and taste that and smell that. Then we'll run some of that stuff through the PureStar. Then we'll have you taste your water again, kind of the before and after, to see if you notice any difference, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let me go ahead and fill this up, just a little bit. And here you go. Go ahead and just take kind of smell it and swish it around, kind of smell it and see if you notice any difference at all, or, you know, from kind of normal taste like you normally just taste like your water, right? Okay, all right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this system, put some of this through here, and let this come out. And I'm going to kind of rinse this cup out a little bit. And what I'm going to want you to do, Jenny, if you will, is go ahead and just, you know, give it a little smell. Then go ahead and then swish it around in your mouth a couple times. And then we're going to go back and see if there's any difference with your water. Okay? Okay, so there's that. Go ahead and taste that. Okay, go ahead and rinse it out there. Nice and clean. Fresh, fresh, fresh. Kind of a velvety kind of texture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can tell the difference. Now go ahead and let's go back to your tap water and notice the difference. Can you smell the difference now?
Definitely.
Okay, can you taste the difference? Go ahead and taste the difference. Notice the difference now?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I wanted to show that to you is what happens is it's like anything in life. You just get used to certain things. So what happens is the water that you have coming out of here, it has a certain taste and it has a certain smell to it, right? But because of years of doing that, you just don't notice it. Well, this is the difference of the water that you're drinking now as opposed to the water that's coming through the PureStar, right? So now that you know the difference of what it was to what could be through the PureStar system, if you had your choice of the velvety texture, the smell of and the taste of the PureStar water or the water that you're drinking now, just even Steven, right?
There's a big difference. The PureStar is definitely much better tasting.
Absolutely. Then the last thing that it goes through is the UV light. Now the UV light is optional, right? And the UV light is designed, it's a safe and proven sanitation and disinfection process designed to remove or eliminate up to 99.99% of all the bacteria in the active organisms, right? So it's kind of like sometimes if you see on TV or you hear on the radio, whatever it may be, that there's a boiled water in the newspaper, the boiled water alert, that means something's already happened, right? With the UV system, it's your call, you're the driver of the bus, but if you had the system, right, and you had the UV in there, then you've already got that extra layer of protection, right? Kind of makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what we're going to be talking about here is really, really simple. I'm just going to take you through some of the features of the system itself. Again, it's ENERGY STAR certified, so you know economic, it's not going to kill you. It is all metal construction for durability. Again, it stands about this tall. You have an automatic self-filling tank reservoir. Now, how you get the water in there is you actually have two options. One is it comes with a standard 3-gallon bottle. And it's not like, you know how like sometimes when you have the water and you got to pour it in, you see the dispensers and you pour it in and then the water kind of goes. This is completely different. It's got a tray on the bottom, it slides out, and then you just put the 3 gallons inside there. Then what happens is then that ends up going through all the filters. So what comes out is either clear, clean, cool water, right, or the hot water, which we'll talk about in just a second. If you don't want to go ahead and use the water bottle itself, you can use and have it plumbed in. The way you do that, there's a couple little valves on the side. You just flip the couple little valves, and that way you could go to get it plumbed in, or you could do it where you use the bottle. Okay. And if you start one way and you decide you want to change to the other, it's real simple. You just flip the valves off the other way, right?
Okay.
But if you were to have a system like this inside the house, right, in the kitchen, would you be thinking you might want to keep it over here, or would you be thinking over here? Where would, for the sake of argument, if you were to have this, where would you think you'd be keeping it?
Probably right over here.
Okay, that's what I was saying, because it just kind of fits in, just kind of blends in on there. Now, what we have here, it's a refrigeration unit for cold water. What I mean by cold, I mean it is cool. A lot of our customers don't even use ice with it because it's so cool. You have an optional water a heater for hot water. So what happens, you have a cool water and the hot water. The hot is really, really hot. I mean, you can make tea, you can make soup and so forth. Now, you have a couple of kids, right? And with children, I'm sure there's a safety factor. So what we have with this design is a built-in safety feature, so that way, if you're going to use the hot water, you have to push the valve, and then you also have to push a little thing in.
Okay.
So that way, it's a kind of a double deal, so you don't have to worry about, you know, the safety factor with the children. But if you have that other little level of concern, there's even a switch on the back, and all you do is just flip that switch, and that way you don't have to worry about the hot water at all, right?
Okay.
Again, it's your call, it's your family, all right? We have a bottle or municipal water source, just like what we talked about there. The sliding cart we talked about, the LED light for low water. How do you know if you're using the bottle? How do I know if it's low? I mean, do I have to constantly check? No, you don't. This is a smart system. What it does is there's a little light that comes on, and then it beeps and lets you know that it needs a little more water filling. Okay? Just that simple. So with this, the nice thing about the PureStar waters is the only thing you really have to do once in a while, if you're going to use the bottle, right, is just put some water in it and just drink good, clean, purified water. It's going to do everything else. It's going to go ahead and be self-contained. It's going to get the water hot. It's going to get the water cold and so forth. And it's even got an automatic turn-off feature, so that way if you're opening up the deal to kind of look at the water itself, then that way you don't have to worry about anything running while you're doing that. So it's kind of like a little shut-off valve. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Just for the sake of argument, if you were thinking about this system, do you think you'd be using it with the bottle, or do you think you probably use it with get it plumbed in?
Probably with the bottle.
That's what most people do. But you have the option if you ever want to change. So I'm going to ask you a couple of simple questions, and it's going to make it real easy, right? Then I'm just about done, okay? All right. So with the PureStar 5-stage filtration system, when you look at it in comparison to the other filters from A to Z, you can see that the PureStar system takes everything out as opposed to some of the things. And if I remember correctly, what you were telling me is that if you were ever in the market for a water purification system, what you were telling me is that you'd be wanting one that gets rid of everything instead of just some of the things. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you can see how this gets rid of everything, all right? Now, the other thing we talked about is the cost of bottled water. On the water itself, we were looking at this system right in here, okay? If you took and looked at this on a 3-year run, what happens is you start paying this amount per gallon for the water. You're going to end up paying this much money at the end of 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, you're still going to end up spending what, $7 a gallon, okay? With the PureStar system, there's an initial investment as far as the system itself, right? And that looks, depending on the package, if you get the UV or you don't get the UV, it kind of looks like this here. But the nice thing about it is once you're past the initial investment, then you're looking at 5 cents a gallon to 7 cents a gallon. So let me ask you this. Would you rather be spending $2 to $8 a gallon, or would you rather be spending 5 to 7 cents a gallon?
5 to 7
I mean,
cents.
that's not hard to answer, is it?
No.
Okay. So really what we're looking at is what you're telling me is you like the fact that it takes out everything instead of some of the things. You like the fact that it has 5 cents a gallon as opposed to $2 a gallon, right? So the choices you really have, Jenny, is you have 3 options, right? Because that's what we talked about, water purification options, right? What you have is you have the option of renting the water, you know, getting it delivered and renting the water. You have the option of buying the water, just like what you've been doing now, where, you know, it's kind of expensive and the hassle and so forth. Or with the PureStar, you actually have the option to go ahead and make your own water, right, and know exactly what you have. So between renting the water, buying the water, or making your own water, which would you rather prefer?
Making the water.
I mean, it's just common sense. Let me go ahead and show you what this looks like.
Okay.
What I want to do is just take a couple of seconds and let's talk about what you've just seen. All right? The demonstration itself is kind of a prediction-proof demonstration. We predicted the things that the unit could do, and then we proved it with each of the demonstrations, right? With the red dye, with the dust, and so forth. The reason we do that is that builds up a trust and confidence with the customer inside the house, because whatever you say is going to happen, it happens, all right? So that's why we use the visuals. Telling isn't selling. Anything you can show the customer, you want to show them. That's why we have a variety of the demonstrations. We use the dust, all the chemicals, and then the unit itself. On the demo book, when you saw me do the demo book, hopefully you caught the fact that I didn't have to read each and every single word. Just like on this page and the following page, I just picked out the highlighted parts. You've got to remember the customer can scan the page faster than you can say it. So one of the things I've always said over the years is when you think about your demonstration, think about save me the labor pains, give me the baby. Don't bore the customer. Have a good conversation, be friendly, make sure you show everything. The book keeps you on track. All you've got to do is show the presentation to the best of your ability, use all the tools available, and when you get done, just like we talked about at the beginning of this whole video and the other chapters, either they buy it or they don't. Have fun, good selling, take a look at this a few different times, and it's going to help you each get stronger and stronger and stronger. As you can see, if this presentation is done correctly, it is very, very compelling and also draws the customer in emotionally. However, when you get to the point of closing the sale, and by closing the sale I mean asking for the order or asking for the money, you also have to include the logic, right? This is why we have the last two pages designed as they are with the page on the grid and the page on the value comparison. Let's take each one individually. When you look at the page with the grid, the points we want to get across is the fact that our product takes out everything from A to Z, where some of the competitive brands leave a lot of holes. So you want to ask the customer a question. The question could be phrased something along this lines. Mrs. Jones, let me ask you a question. If you were to be looking for a water purification system, would you be looking for one that gets out everything, and by that I mean from A to Z, or would you be looking for one that just gets some of the items out? Obviously, logic is going to dictate they're going to say, we want one with the everything out. That's ours. The next page is the value comparison page. We've already established prior in the presentation how expensive bottled water is. Now what we want to do is draw into the fold our product and let them see how economical it is if they invest it. Now, by that what I mean is with the other brands, you've noticed you have been spending a tremendous amount of money per gallon. So with us, you're down to 5 to 7 cents per gallon. So again, you're going to ask the customer a question. Phrase something along this line. So Mrs. Jones, let me ask you a question. When it comes down line to spending the money, would you rather be spending $2 to $8 a gallon for your water, or would you rather be spending 5 to 7 cents per gallon? Not hard to answer. So what we've done is we've got the customer emotionally drawn in, we're closing this sale on logic, and if you do that, then it's going to make sense to the customer why they should invest in our product. Let's talk about the purpose of the questionnaire. First of all, it validates your being there on the purpose of, validates the purpose of the visit. Let's talk about the value of the questionnaire. The purpose of it is to help validate the reason for your visit. It keeps you on track. It helps engage the customer in a conversation, and you can use it effectively as a closing tool. Let's talk about the components of the questionnaire. The first 4 questions you're going to ask at the beginning of the presentation. This helps set the stage and gives you a better understanding of what the customer is using, regardless whether it's municipal water, well water, or what have you. We also get to find out if the customer has any issues with taste, odor, color, or any kind of water concerns, and it'll help you establish if they are getting some bottled water either delivered or they buy it at the store and what their monthly expense is. This is extremely important when it comes down to closing the sale. The second part of the questionnaire, you notice it says to be completed by the customer. This is done after the presentation and after the close of the sale. Regardless of whether you got the sale or not, they're still going to fill this out. The first question after the demo says, what 2 features impressed you most about the system? If they didn't purchase, what we want to do is get them back thinking positively about the system. Number 6, were you impressed enough with the system to own one someday? Yes or no? If yes, how soon? Now, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or other? And if they didn't purchase today, but they do check the box on 3 months, that leads you into a deferred payment close, which we'll talk about on a different video. Number 8 says, if you did not purchase, what's the one main reason? That question is there because sometimes when you're closing, what happens is the customer doesn't give you the real reason. But when you hand the questionnaire to the customer, sometimes they will write down a different objection than what you've been working on. So that leads you into a very easy close saying, I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, I misunderstood what you're saying. Now that I've taken a look at number 8, I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that if I could solve this particular problem, then we could have your business today. Is that correct? All right. Number 9 and number 10 just keeps you on track as far as the referral program and doing some in-home recruiting. Then the customer then at the end prints your name. If there's a gift received, that goes in there. They date it, they sign it, and so forth. Now that I've explained the questionnaire to you, what I'd like you to do is go back to the presentation itself and notice how this is used effectively in the book when we talk about the purpose of the visit. If you are asking the customer for an opinion, you need to make sure that you have a form that does validate the purpose of your visit. The rest of it comes in time. It's like anything else. The more you use the questionnaire, the easier it's going to be to use, and you're going to find out how to effectively close sales by using this form. Good selling. This demo, when done correctly, is fun, exciting, and effective. Remember, not everyone will buy. However, if you present our product in a friendly, professional manner, you will have success. Study the training materials, review this video, stay positive, concentrate on demos, and the sales will follow. The next series of videos will consist of some advanced training subjects as well as some lead generation programs. Good selling.